You know, I've really enjoyed talking to you about relationships. I've enjoyed your responses and comments. We've talked a little bit about sex and selection and women of virtue. It set off a couple of landmines, rightfully so. But let's bring it home. I was asked to speak on the subject of the woman's purpose. Where do we go from here? Before I get into that, I want to say that I'm going to point to the word progress. I'm going to point to the word progress because I want you to think about, as I'm sharing this information with you, have we made progress in the right areas? In other words, there was a time we used to fight for the right and or privileges to marry one another. We were not allowed to marry one another. And now that we have earned the right to marry one another, we choose not to marry one another. And to me, that does not look like progress. It's as though we fought for the rights to sit in the front seat of the city bus, and when we earned the right to sit in whichever seat we would choose, we chose to sit in the back of the bus. That does not look like progress. So, where do we go from here? What is the woman's purpose? And what do we really need from you? Well, I'm here to tell you today, sister, that you hold the key. What does society need of you? And what does the next generation of our sons and daughters, what should they look to you for? And I'm telling you today that you hold the key, sister. Your purpose has we have to go back in order to discover your purpose. We have to go back to those movements of the 1960s and 70s when there was the most social change ever initiated in North America. And let's look for your purpose there because it was there when you got the opportunity to change positions. That's what the word movement means. It means change of position. You would think that the change of position should have resulted in an advancement, in an ascension, in something that looks like progress, whereas your entire existence would have been elevated to the point to where the entire community, the entire society as a whole could benefit now that you are able to maximize your intellectual capacity. See, these movements were not just launched to take us to another place politically or to advance us academically or economically. No, these were social movements. And the changing of position was to put you, sister, in your rightful place in society. Now, your purpose should be within reach. Your purpose should be obtainable. You should be able to fulfill the purpose of which you were created. That purpose, fundamentally, as a woman, your purpose in life is to create, not destroy. Your purpose is to seek growth. Your purpose, sister, is to contribute to the next generation by way of example. But if we look at progress and the example that is being set forth, the fashion industry has exploited your freedom by making it more appealing for you to take your clothes off. When there was a time when you were covered, we still saw how beautiful you were. We saw how fine you were, but you were covered. But the fashion industry and the standards and morals of society have degenerated to the point to where you think it adds value to you by being more revealing, and actually it's just the opposite. You want to attract a certain kind of attention. Well, the kind of attention that you are attracting is not the kind of attention that you actually want, nor is it the kind of attention that you deserve, because it is in the opposite direction of your purpose. See, in the words of Mary McLeod Bethune, she said that next to God, we are indebted to women. She said that first for life itself, and then for making it worth living. She went on to say that the true worth of a race must be measured by the character of its womanhood. And so when we say progress, are we making progress morally? Are we making progress with regard to our values? Because when I hear you say that the men that come in and out of your life are inadequate, when they lack effort, when they lack ambition and all of these things, if you allow them to stick around, then, sister, you have to get to the point to where you realize that your purpose is to hold certain standards and values so that we as men can elevate our existence and get our acts together, because we are hardwired by nature to do only that which you require of us. See, you hold the key. And so if the men that come in and out of your life tell you that they don't want to commit to you, then that's because women have collectively in this generation, you have sent a message to the men in this generation that you do not require that we commit to you. We as men have done a horrible job at protecting you, sister. And let me offer you my deepest, most sincere apologies for not protecting you better. Protecting you from what? From the distraction. The distraction of thinking that your sex appeal is more important than your character, more important than what actually makes you valuable, which is your actual purpose. But you've been turned away from your purpose. And I want to take a certain amount of responsibility for that. We have to come together and be reminded of why we are here. We're not here to strut the runways. We're not here to simply seek pleasure and play games with one another. That is not the purpose of our creation. But you hold the key, sister. You are the secret. And we have to do a better job at acknowledging your purpose and encouraging you to let's get a handle on that purpose so that the opportunities for progress, we can get back on track. But the momentum from those movements have been shifted into reverse as it pertains to our morals and our values. We are more interested in being out. We kick it with one another. That's the best we can do. We can kick it with one another for a season. And that, my dear sister, is not the intended purpose. Now, I am a firm believer that if tough love is not in the word love, then it's not real love at all. And if there's something to be fixed, sister, you hold the key. Nothing gets fixed until you say, until you determine that it is time to fix this. Your purpose is to create. There's another movement that has to take place where you will have to be in the forefront. You're going to have to be the guide on, sister, your purpose. We have to be able to look at you differently, and you have to show up differently so that we can see your actual value, so that we can support you in your purpose. It's a lot of responsibility, and it seems like we've become a generation where if responsibility is in it, where commitment is in it, we don't want any parts of it, and we have to get back to our purpose. And remember, I'm only here to help. I want for you what I want for myself. I want for you guys to be happy. I want you to live a life of longevity and one of fulfillment. But above all these things combined, I wish upon you many, many blessings. See, there is fulfillment in finding your purpose. And as always, I'm looking forward to your response. Remember, if tough love is not in it, it's not real love at all. My name is Jay Jackson.